Okay, so yesterday we have discussed about the spectrum of atoms, molecules, or any compounds, materials. So, what the idea I wanted to convey is each of them will have unique spectrum or spectra. Okay, each of them will have unique spectrum. So you already seen the spectra of mercury and sodium vapor lamp, mercury lamp. So from that you can see that there are some line spectra. They consist of some line spectra. Similarly, you have studied the hydrogen spectra. Hydrogen, I told it is the most abundant in the universe. Okay, almost 98%. Have you anybody verified that how many percentage hydrogen in the universe? Anybody verified? So that is the most abundant in the universe, hydrogen atom. So study about hydrogen is very important because that is the simplest atom. Uh, it consists of only one proton and one electron. That is the hydrogen atom. Okay, so a proton you can call it as a hydrogen ion. Hydrogen ion. I think you can call it as a hydrogen ion because proton is if an electron is added to it, it is a hydrogen atom. Okay, so if you want to see hydrogen spectra, how you can make hydrogen spectra? First, you have to make hydrogen discharge tube. Okay, hydrogen spectra. You have to make a hydrogen discharge tube. It is similar to our tube light, but very small in size, some 10-inch length. Okay, hydrogen discharge tube is very small. A vacuum tube, you remove all other air inside the tube so that vacuum is created, and then you fill only the pure hydrogen atom in it. And there are two electrodes at both ends so that you can apply high voltage. Then discharge will produce between these two electrodes so that hydrogen atom is in between the electric discharge. So that what happens? Hydrogen atom gets excited and immediately all the hydrogen atom gets de-excited randomly so that you will get continuous white light. So even though that is a white light, if you look through the spectrometer, okay, you have to use high resolving power spectrometer, then you can see that there are a lot of lines in the hydrogen spectrum. You can see that it is not similar to mercury spectra. So hydrogen atom consists of we have lines in green or lines in red, lines in yellow, but that is slightly shifted from that of mercury. So hydrogen atom has its own unique characteristic spectra, consists of many lines. Okay, so each line represents what? Each line represents a particular wavelength. Okay, each line in the spectra represents particular wavelength or frequency. Okay, of the hydrogen atom, which are the characteristics of hydrogen atom. Okay, now this is an experimental part. Okay, now what is the job of theory? Theory part is you make a model of the hydrogen atom and you try to explain how these lines are produced and or how you exactly get these wavelengths, spectral lines. Okay, so exact wavelength you have to give, or you have to predict by theory. Okay, so many scientists tried that, and the one of the final successful theory was put forward by Niels Bohr. Okay, Niels Bohr. He was a very famous scientist. Niels Bohr almost lived in the same age of Einstein. They were very close friends. At the same time, they are enemies because they have a debate over some formulations of quantum mechanics. You might have heard Solvay conference. If you search in the internet, Solvay conference. So hydrogen spectra consists of lines. Unique lines. Okay. So first successfully explained by Niels Bohr. So he was a friend of Einstein, and you search for Solvay conference in the internet, you can see some of the photographs and the details of that, in which Einstein and Bohr and almost all the famous scientists were present in that photo. Okay, I request somebody to download that photo and put in the group so that everybody can see many famous scientists in that single photograph. Okay, Solvay conference. So in during Solvay conference, they had some debates. Einstein, one side led by Einstein and another side led by Niels Bohr. Okay, that you will learn in the post graduation what they have discussed and what they have debated. Okay, so Bohr was the first person who successfully explained the hydrogen atom spectra. Okay, Niels Bohr. That you will learn in the first part of your syllabus, how Niels Bohr successfully explained the hydrogen spectra. Okay, that I am not elaborating. You have already learned in the plus 2 level. Again, you will learn in this semester how Niels Bohr successfully explained the hydrogen atom spectra with his postulates and theory. Okay, now I will come back to one of the questions I have asked. How you suppose a person claims it is a new material or new atom, how you can identify, how you can make sure his claim is true or false? That I think you can give the answer now, because each atom or each element have its own unique spectra. So suppose somebody says this is a new material or new atom, how you can test that hypothesis or claim? You make the spectra of that material, new material. Okay, you make there are some methods, destructive and non-destructive methods. There are some methods. If the sample is very low, we have to go for non-destructive testing. Otherwise, sample will not be there for further testing. So that these things will come later when you learn spectroscopy. Okay. So this is the idea. You make the spectra of that new atom, compare with all other existing spectra of existing elements or atoms. Okay. If none of them are matching, that claim is true. That is a new material or new atom. Okay. Or if you find any similarity in the spectra, that is not a claim is false, that is not a new material or new atom. This is what I asked in the last class. I think the idea is very clear now. This is one other method is spectroscopic method. You compare the spectra. Actually, spectra means either a photograph spectra or it is a table of wavelength. Okay, either you can, it is a photograph. When you see a spectra, you take the photograph, or you can represent it as a table, the wavelength present in the spectra. That is also a spectrum. You wavelength you mark in angstrom or any other unit, that is a spectra. So compare these spectra, you can say that the claim is true or false. Is the idea clear? Somebody reply?
Yes, sir.
So that is the use of spectroscopy, very important. So that is mainly experimental method. Now, I think you know, everybody know this experiment and theory should match. For any hypothesis or any theory to exist in physics, the experiment and theory should match. Okay, so if you, that is easy. To make an experiment, that is very easy. You make hydrogen spectra, you measure the wavelength, that is experiment part, that is very easy. But theory part is need not be easy. So many scientists tried. Finally, Niels Bohr successfully explained the hydrogen spectra, and according to his theory and his equations, it matches with the experimental data. So scientific world accepted his theory. So that is why he become famous. Okay. So as a follow-up, so that I will write here. So Niels Bohr explain hydrogen spectra. Okay. So what is the next highest atom? Helium. Helium. But helium is slightly different because it consists of nucleus is also different. Outside the nucleus, there are 2 electrons. So in our discussion, only electrons comes. So helium atom consists of 2 electrons. So spectra is slightly different. But Bohr's theory could not explain helium spectra. Bohr's theory failed. Okay. But you take helium ion, you remove one of the electron from the helium. So the He becomes He plus. This is almost like hydrogen atom. Helium ion is almost like hydrogen atom because it consists of only 1 electron. Nucleus is slightly heavy, no problem, that you can manage. But due to only 1 electron, the theory needs Bohr's theory could match with the experiment. So you take helium ion and try to produce its spectra. Okay, so that will be matching with the Bohr's theory. Okay, so Bohr's theory could explain hydrogen spectra, helium ion spectra. What is the next element in periodic table is hydrogen, helium, lithium. Lithium. You remove 2, lithium consists of 3 electrons. You remove 2 electrons. Then lithium becomes lithium doubly ionized lithium. Li++. That also similar to hydrogen atom because due to 1 electron, but nucleus is more heavier. Okay, so that difference will be there in calculations. So anyhow, Bohr's theory could explain lithium doubly ionized lithium spectrum also. But these are the same theory failed in. So in these cases, Bohr's theory was a success. Bohr's theory was a success. But in the case of helium atom or lithium atom or molecules, Bohr's theory could not be successful. Bohr could not explain or any higher atoms, higher atomic number atoms, Bohr's theory. So helium atom or lithium atom or higher higher elements, Bohr could not explain their spectra. Okay, so that was the uh, so Bohr's theory. What was when you study Bohr theory, you accept that because that was okay in certain extent, but for some other cases, so this was one of the failure of Bohr theory. These are the failures of Bohr theory. One. Okay. Next failure was when you look at the spectrum. Okay, photograph, not the table. I told the spectrum can be photograph or a table. So you look at the photograph, you can see that you just search the net. Or next time when you come to the physics MSc lab, I can show you the hydrogen spectra. Hydrogen spectra is there. Okay, not in BSc lab, but in MSc lab, hydrogen spectra is there, and some other spectra also you can see there. Okay, or any material you can make spectra in the MSc lab. Okay, so if you look the photograph or you view through the spectrometer, you can see that some you will see many lines. Okay, so you can see many lines like this. Depending upon the atom, you can see many lines, but you can see that some lines are very intense, some lines are weak lines. Okay, some lines are very intense. Intensity is different among the spectral lines. Okay, one more thing that you can see. Okay, this is experimental fact. Intensity of spectral lines are not the same, they are slightly different. Some lines are more intense, some lines are weak in intense. One more thing is that some spectral lines have width also different. See, the width is different. This is not the problem of the slit, width of the slit. However, you make the slit narrower, there is a minimum width for the spectral line. Okay, so some spectral lines are narrow, some spectral lines are more wider. So intensity and width. So two things you can notice in the spectra is intensity is varying, also width also is slightly different. These are very small changes, but you can watch through your naked eye. Intensity is different, maybe same. Width may be same, may be different. Okay, so this variation in intensity and width of the spectral line, variation in intensity and width of spectral line, what is the reason for that? There will be some reason. Intensity more means that a particular electron transition happens more frequently. Okay, that is the reason. That how you can explain that with the sufficient theory of physics? That is the question. Okay, and some width is there, and what is the reason for this width difference in width? Okay, so these two things could not be explained by Niels Bohr. Is that clear? Intensity and width of spectral lines, variation in intensity and width variation. This could not be explained by Niels Bohr. Okay, so these are some of the limitations, not failures. We can't see, instead of failure, you better say limitations. Limitations of Bohr's theory. Okay, so first one, The spectrum of higher atoms could not be explained by Niels Bohr. Second one, the intensity and width of variation in intensity and width of spectral lines could not be explained by Niels Bohr theory. Third one, if you uh, use higher resolution spectrometer, okay, if you use higher resolution spectrometer, means you have to use a prism, suitable prism or grating for that with a high resolving power, very high resolving power. You can see that each spectral line, initially you find this spectral line as one, but you can see that if you use higher resolving power, you can see that each spectral line gets splitted into two or more components. So splitting of spectral lines, okay, splitting of spectral lines. These are some experimental results. If you use high resolution, high resolving power spectrometer, high resolving power spectrometer, you can see that the each line in the spectrum gets splitted into two or three or four like that. So you have to explain it with the theory. You have to support. Okay. And one more limitation is that, so we identify four limitations. One more limitation is that this when you the Bohr's theory could not explain the interaction between atoms or molecules. So when you do the chemistry experiment, you can see that when you mix one chemical with another chemical, so some interaction happens and the new results are produced. Okay, so color may change or some other things will happen. So that is due to interaction between atoms and molecules. That also could not be explained by Niels Bohr. Okay, so even though we don't have to degrade Niels Bohr, because that at that time that theory was actually our savior theory, saving theory, because we could at least explain some experimental facts. Bohr's theory was a successful theory, but when you analyze again and again, then only you can see that Bohr's theory have some limitations. Okay, so how to solve this? Only option is we need a new theory. So that was the beginning of, even though Bohr's theory was known as quantum theory, we need a new theory, which we call it as wave theory or wave mechanics. So that was the reason for wave mechanics, or maybe this is also a part of quantum theory. Again, everything belongs to quantum theory, but Niels Bohr theory is slightly older. This wave mechanics is slightly newer. So all this happened in 1920s, 2025s. Okay. So the other part, the older part, you will learn in the first part of the syllabus. So between 1900 and 1920, what happened in quantum mechanics, starting from black body radiation up to Niels Bohr's theory, that you will learn in the first part. And this part you will learn what happened after 1920s. Okay, so there are some other scientists who worked hard to produce the new theory. Their names are Schrodinger. One person is Schrodinger, Erwin Schrodinger from Austria, and another scientist is Heisenberg. Then Dirac, Paul Dirac. Then Pauli, then Max Born, etc. These are the name of scientists who worked hard, very hard, to produce the new theory in order to explain these limitations of Bohr theory. Okay, is the idea clear? So we are going to start wave theory or wave mechanics of quantum theory. Is that the idea clear? So I am